Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Alt Kings podcast. I'm your host, Tate, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with formerly known as Hash Pimps and now HyzenAI. If you didn't already know, HyzenAI is focused on creating every AI service accessible in one place, and they aim to provide a platform for users to bring their ideas to life. They're also fueled by the High Token, and I'm joined with their co-founder and marketing lead, Jake, and co-founder and lead developer, Lee. Jake, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Appreciate you having us on, Tate, again. I know we had a few technical difficulties last time and just before this as well. But yeah, it's good to be back on and hopefully this one goes smooth. Excited to share, a lot about what we've been building at Hyzen, where we want to go as a Web3 brand as well. Yeah, so pretty excited to talk to you today, share what we've been doing. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Lee, how about yourself? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. It's great to be back on. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. I'd love to have a video feed right now, but I have no camera for my desktop. So, yeah, audio will have to do. It's great to be back on.
Definitely. Well, I saw what you looked like before, and you are one beautiful man, that's for sure. Love the mustache, that's why I say it. But anyways, let's dive into things. I'd like to start. Jake, simply speaking, what was the inspiration behind Hash Pimps and now Hyzen AI?
Well, yeah, it takes me back a couple of years. I think probably about 2 to 3 years now, just in between there somewhere. That's when I first came into crypto and Hedera. Usually when you come to crypto, you go to the first move advantages like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and explore them type of things. Jump on centralized exchanges, trade some Bitcoin, dive into projects you had no clue about. That was a bit of me. But yeah, I kind of came across Hedera from Lee. You kept posting content on Snapchat, all these different social media platforms like in Web2 that you know of, the big ones. And I kind of raised some eyebrows. I asked them a couple of questions. Got into like an alpha chat with a lot of cool people in crypto. A lot of them I don't talk to now. They've moved on or they've gone to other chains and things like that. But yeah, I kind of just messaged Lee. I was asking him what HBAR was, learning about layer ones, different things like that. And I didn't really go back from there. Downloaded Twitter and got into the crypto Twitter for the first time and start browsing through loads of Hedera things. I think what caught my attention and what catches most people's attention from Hedera is obviously you look at the governing council initially and you're like, wow, these people are involved. They're governing a network like this. What's this all about? And then from then on, we didn't have net NFTs or DeFi back in the day or anything like that. But I kind of just saw that grow. Coming up and showing up every day and getting to know some developers, getting to know the retail community, all these different things that are going on Hedera. We finally got a wallet. I think it was Exact back in the day. And then we got our marketplaces like Zeus, Hash Access and all of that. And from then on, we've developed so much. So yes, I thought of having the idea of, bringing, Hash Pimps as an NFT collection. Got in touch with an artist that I know personally. She lives down the road to me. So my best friend's mum. Her name's Tina. So she was behind Drop One of the Hash Pimps. Initially, we just wanted to go out there, drop an NFT collection, build a community on, Discord and things like that. And really it came from, inexperience. We kind of just jumped into the deep end and just launched the project, built a community. And then from then on, we've developed into Hyzen. We've got Lee, building the tools and the brainchild behind a lot of the AI tools and services. And then, got myself who's pushing the Hyzen ecosystem and, trying to market that, in a positive way and bring, a new sort of utility to Hedera. So yeah, that's the answer to the question. Hashbim started off the inspiration. That was the question. The inspiration behind it is, I just wanted to create something, build a team, do something different, build a different type of brand, especially in like this new world of, tech, especially, on networks like Hedera. And yeah, it kind of just went from there. We just came up with ideas, speaking every day. We were passionate about it. And then we got to here now. And yeah, we're really happy. I'm happy with the progress we've made. I'm not really happy because, we're not there yet, but we'll be there. So yeah.
Most definitely. And it's all about the journey at the end of the day, in my opinion.
Mm.
You start from one idea and it takes you across a long, endeavoring journey. And you come across, hopefully, at the end of the journey, your goals are all accomplished. And what I think right now, what you guys are doing from Hash Pimps to now Hyzen AI, you guys are offering tons of different tools and services. And there's a lot to unravel there. And Lee, I'd like to start out by asking you, if you don't mind breaking down some of these tools and services you offer. Let's start with Babel and work our way into the Highbot and, whatever route it takes us after that, by all means. But what is Babel? From my understanding, it's an automatic translation bot for Discord servers, allowing multilingual servers with low friction using AI translations. Is that about right? Because that's the description you gave me.
Yeah, so Babel is our latest bot. It's our latest one to go into a demo in our server. But while it's our latest bot, it's also going to be our first to go live because it's quite a simple bot. It's going to use a very basic subscription. So any servers that want to use it can pay. We haven't narrowed down the exact cost yet. We'll adjust that once it's live, seeing how much it gets used, etc., or operational costs. And yeah, basically what it does is you add the bot into your server, you choose which the main chat channel is, you choose which languages you want to support, and you choose what your native language is. And then it'll create a category with a channel within that category for each language you choose to support. And then anyone who speaks those languages can go into their given channel and they can speak normally into that channel. The message will be translated into the native language. It will go into what you set as the main chat and it will send it as a character embed. So you can still see their profile picture and their name within the message that gets sent into the main server. So it's quite low friction in terms of you can actually see who's speaking to you, where the message came from. So you can go into the message destination and then find their account from there, etc. And then if you go vice versa and you speak into the main chat, every single message there will be converted into all the different supported languages. So in the Hyzen server, we have every language supported. So we have, well, every language that we support in the bot. So we have 25 languages currently within the Hyzen server. So every time you speak, 25 AI generations happen within less than 1 second, and it converts it into every single language. So then you can speak to someone in two different channels within the server, both speaking your native language without even noticing barely outside of the character embed going through the bot. So yeah, extremely low friction multilingual communities. So you can have, say, a Spanish community and an English community. I see that a lot on Hedera. So both those sides will then be able to speak to each other very, very easily. So you turn these fragmented communities into one large community where they can all collaborate, etc. So it should really unify the space for whoever adds this bot.
Most definitely. And that one simple use case yet sophisticated at the same time really brought a lot of attention to me, and I see it being something that you can utilize outside of just community building purposes to people who are from all parts of the world. I see it as a digital nomad perspective as well. From say if I'm out traveling to say China or Japan, I don't know the native language at all. I hop on the Hyzen server, or if I integrate it into my very own server, I hop in, utilize the bot, start typing away, and say, I find somebody who's Russian in that country that I'm traveling to. Well, look, I can just now go into the Russian tab, click on or type in my message in English, and then go to the Russian tab, see it in Russian, and the next thing you know, it's there, being able to present it to him, her, whoever it is, you name it. I look at it in that way, and it almost opens the door to seamless sort of translations across the board rather than having to go to say a platform like Google Translate where you type it in and then you have to try to convert it to their national language where you can just type it in and artificial intelligence does it for you. It's one very unique tool that I'm happy to see offered by you guys because we've never seen it before. It's my first time ever seeing it in general, and it's really cool how you guys have been able to integrate it within your Discord servers and soon other Discord servers as well. Kabila's one company who comes to mind that could definitely utilize this to the top advantages, I'd say, because they have a big Spanish audience. Merging the Spanish and English audiences together, that could play a really well hand.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'll let Jake take this. Yeah.
yeah, I kind of just wanted to add to that a little bit as well because yeah, you mentioned Kabila just as being one who's obviously they do have a large Spanish community as well.
Yeah.
When you hop into someone's server, what I find is what language do you speak, or just on the entrance just to like go in and verify yourself and things like that, and then you kind of get split up into this like different community. Like what if for example you had like a massive blockchain chat, like talk about Hedera has like a dev chat or whatever.
Yeah.
You go in there and you've got a Spanish dev who's you can't communicate with an English dev or something like that. Whereas you had Babel operating in there and people could actually speak sort of seamlessly. They can you could sort of make new connections in a way that you wouldn't have expected before. We see that on Twitter Spaces. Like that's a whole different story. Is Twitter Spaces and things like that. You can't obviously go in,
Yeah.
and I can't speak Spanish, so I'm not going to go into a Spanish space. But yeah, it kind of just makes that seamless in terms of like it might at the moment. I think the translations are very good. All the feedback we've had, great, and it's only going to get better. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about Babel. Even though that's just came about as just one tiny use case within, our ecosystem. I'd say tiny, but it's going to be massive in my opinion. But yeah, I'm happy to see that go. That's going live on July the 1st. Hoping to get it in as many different servers as possible. Right now, it's obviously in demo. We're getting some feedback off community members, different
Yep.
servers, and things like that. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
Nice. Lee, anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, sure. So there is one little bit that I didn't mention. So I explained it as kind of like a two-way bridge between languages, but it's actually a bridge between every single language in your server.
Yeah.
So if you speak in Russian, your message is going to get translated into Spanish if you're Spanish supported, and all these different languages. So you can have one person speaking Russian, one person speaking Spanish, one person speaking English, etc., and they can all easily speak together. And there's no spam as well because it puts it all into their own little channels. So you only see the message once in each channel, and everyone who uses it is only going to be using one channel, which represents their language. And then you just have a main channel, like our lounge. Any message you send into the lounge in our Hyzen server goes into every single multilingual channel. And yeah,
Nice.
it just ferries it all between every single channel.
You're literally connecting the globe. That's probably the best way of putting it. In a text format, of course.
I'll take
Outside
that
of
one.
yeah. Outside of the Babel bot, we have the Hive bot. It's an all-in-one AI bot offering many models and of each modality. Lee, you mind dabbling into this for me? Explain everything that the Hive bot has to offer. Obviously, there's probably an extensive amount, but maybe simplify it down and kind of highlight the main things it offers currently.
Yeah, sure. So as you said, the main goal of it is to have an all-in-one AI bot. So to anyone who doesn't know what a modality is, it's the different modes of operation within the AI. So you might have one that has vision, where it can read an image. You have one where it can speak. You have one where it can create a video, create an image, or text, etc.
Is it kind
So
of
you
like
have,
senses? Like
yeah,
see, smell, and stuff like that? Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. We don't have smell. I don't think that's possible yet, but
Not yet.
hopefully one day the Highbot can smell you. But yeah, so I'll start with the tech side. That's the most fleshed out. So we currently have, I consider it an enthusiast grade bot. So we have currently 153 different text models. So you can choose all the well-known ones, like let's say Claude Opus, all the different types of Claude, Claude Sonnet, Claude Haiku, etc. You've got all the different GPT models. You've got the Command Go Here models. You've got the Google Gemini models. You've got the Llama 3 models, Llama 2 models, loads of different fine tunes of all of those. So pretty much any text model that gets created is going to be in Hybot. So we have pretty much every single one you can think of right now, except for Grok. I still need to get hold of Grok from somewhere, but that's kind of quite an overrated one anyway. So I don't think that'll see much usage, but it's good to have everything. And then we also have the image side, which is quite cool as well. So we have quite a few different image generators, like we have all the Stable Diffusion models, all the different Stable Diffusion 3, large, medium, ultra, etc. We have DALI 3, DALI 3 HD, we have the different aspect ratios for all these different images. We basically give every single setting available to us for these AI models for our users to toggle as they please. Now, most platforms can be quite restrictive, they don't give you every option. So everything I can do with AI as a dev in these sides, I try to give as an option within the bot. So some of these commands like generate, you have like 10 different optional inputs where you can control how the generation works. We also have a bunch of different advanced image editing tools within there, like Sketch. We have search and replace. I love search and replace. So you have two prompts. You have a search prompt and you have a generation prompt. So you can say like search prompt hat. Like I could take this photo of you right now from here. I could type hat and I could
Yeah,
replace it with say like knight's helmet. And then it would replace your hat with a knight's helmet with just one simple
nice.
command. So that's one of my favorite commands in there. There's a bunch of other ones, like there's ones that can take your face and put it into different generations. It has vision now, which is only currently working with the OpenAI models in there, but we do have vision. We have songs, which I'm currently working on upgrading, which uses Suno. I'm about to add the 11 add sound effects. So AI sound effects, this only became available yesterday. I'm already building with it. It's getting built into my text to audiobook converter. So it can actually add dramatization to the audiobooks. But you'll also be able to create sound effects within HyBot, which is getting added later today. So that should be very fun. That's quite useful if you're doing creative work. Like let's say you're making a video, you need a sound effect that has no licensing attached. You can just generate it using AI now. These AI models have got to that point, and yeah, there's pretty much everything you can think of in there. I'll have to go onto Highbot one sec, see if I'm actually missing anything.
And I like the way you're integrating all the different AI, artificial intelligence. Sorry, I like how you're integrating all the artificial intelligence. In oh my goodness, my apologies. I like how you're integrating all the different AI platforms, but I have to ask Lee, why is Grok overrated?
Okay, so with Grok, inside of Twitter, it's actually very good, but it has a kind of secret weapon within Twitter, which is access to all of the Twitter data. So it's able to get these real-time feeds from within Twitter, but that is on top of the model itself. So the model that they've open sourced for Grok doesn't have that aspect to it, which is what makes Grok good within Twitter, which is you can get all the Twitter information. So outside of that, it's basically just an oversized model that's very inefficient for what it is. It takes a lot of compute relative to the quality of the output that comes out. So you can probably get quite a similar output quality from, say, Llama 3 at a fraction of the cost, a model that's significantly smaller but a similar output quality. With Grok, it kind of feels like he just pumped a lot of money into it to make a massive model and then kind of made up for the lack of quality with just the size of the model. And yeah, so it's a useful model inside of Twitter, but as a standalone model, it isn't very competitive.
Sure. My favorite AI right now is Perplexity, probably. For text to text, at least, currently speaking. Just based off how it references other different websites and news articles and stuff like that to provide sources back to the information it's vetting to you. But
Oh
the
yes,
HiBot, currently speaking, it can provide text, text to voice, text to image, text to video. And was there anything else that we might have missed that you're going back to look in the server?
yeah.
I
There's
think
also text to speech. We have text to speech in there,
Text to
and we
speech.
also have a few other extra image editing tools like outpainting, where you can actually expand the corners of an image outwards, however you want. And there's also character creation, so you can create your own characters within it. You can monetize those characters for when other people use them. So that gets into all of a lot of the role playing side. We're trying to touch on every single aspect of AI. So we look at these different services. We think, how can we offer this service within as an offering within Hybot? So we're just trying to aggregate everything we possibly can. We don't want people to ever have a reason to use any other AI tools but Hybot because what they want to use should be already inside of Hybot. Sometimes there can be proprietary models. Like if you've seen these AI videos recently from Luma Labs,
Yeah.
that's a proprietary model. I don't have access to that yet, so I'm a little bit behind on, say, the video generation compared to what the cutting edge is. But whatever is available for me to add at the cutting edge, I will always add as long as it's actually available to me at the time. I find that the text models tend to be available at the very cutting edge, and then the image and video models, etc., they tend to be held back a bit. I think that's because there's currently less competition, so there's less of a drive to actually get your platform to be the one that people are building using, and instead they're trying to drive the traffic to their own websites. But as we see more competition coming out in, say, text to video, we're going to see these different labs be like, okay, so there's a lot of competition in our front end, but there's no competition in terms of developers building on top of our model. So I think they're going to start targeting that a lot more in the other modalities, which should bring it up to the very cutting edge in terms of what's available in HiBot.
Very cool. Jake, was there something you'd like to add?
Yeah, I was going to talk a bit about character generation, but you did bring that up a little bit. I was going to talk about, obviously, HiBot's going to be on free front ends in the future. We're going to have it on Discord as the most comprehensive at the moment. Like, there isn't a more powerful bot than that at the moment. That we know of. Well, anyway, and Lee's obviously searched deep into that. We've had a look around, and there's nothing, sort of competing like that at the moment. But yeah, I think, having it on free front ends and character generation sort of gives that full customizability for someone to, create their own bot. Like, so basically use Hi as the provider to create their own bot and whack it in the server and, make it behave in a certain way, have some of the functionalities they want to have. So, any project, even any business, brand, even, Deegan chats, things like that. You can have, HiBot running their own character for like their own server, rather than, building their own bot from scratch that uses, just like one model with, image models in there or whatever. We kind of just want to be, a provider in Discord as well to have HiBot across like, every server. And then obviously the web application's more like a private experience with, HiBot. And then Telegram as well just opens that, so yeah, it's just, everything in one place. But then having that full customizable experience, to do what you want with the bot. That's what I'd like to add there. It's the most customizable bot.
Scalable.
Yeah, basically.
Services included. Yeah.
And as a pay-as-you-go option.
I would like to add as well that pretty much everything we're speaking about today is available in public demos in our HyzenAI server. So all of this is built. It isn't fully live with payments yet, but everything that we've described can be tried right now for free with no sign up, no registration or anything. You can just come in our server and try it all right away.
Great show, Lee. Let's talk a little more about Sty NFT / the gaming API. Lee, you mentioned this to me earlier. I'm not too aware of what it is specifically. You gave me a little bit of a summary, but you mind dabbling into this as well as the account ID tokenization? If you mind kind of merging those two together, and so we can get into some other expansive things. As I see, there's so much you guys have to offer, but we probably don't have enough time to talk all about it today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll be quick with these two. So I'll start with the SUI NFT engine, which will soon rebrand into, we haven't decided the exact name, but it's a gaming AI NPC engine basically. So right now we have a demo in our Discord which lets you choose any Hedera NFT. It's only for ones running on IPFS right now. We're going to add Arweave and Hashnell support soon. But you can choose any Hedera NFT and it will auto-generate an AI character from it using the metadata and zoom vision too, looking at the image. So it can see all the different traits, it knows what collection it's from, etc. Then it will generate a personality and a backstory, etc. So you can actually speak to these NFTs as an AI character that just automatically created from the NFT. So it adds a new level of interactivity that didn't previously exist. No one's ever heard of speaking to an NFT before. It's quite outlandish and it's completely novel to us. And now the way that's going to evolve is the gaming API. So these characters, these NPC characters, they're going to either be from an NFT. You can choose to support your collection. You've got like a 10,000 NFT collection. You can turn them all into NPCs with extremely low friction. So you can basically just choose your settings. You can describe the world you're building and everything, and it'll create characters for every single one of them when they're needed. And the way the gaming API works is it'll basically offer you choices of these different AI models to run them off. You'll be able to input your world, an overview of what the world is. There'll be a knowledge file that you can add to that will say anything that's happening around the character in the world. So let's say someone's trying to like buy an item from the character, or something's attacking it, etc. It'll be fed all that information, and you'll be able to define custom function calling within it. So it'll be able to output structured JSON outputs that can correspond to different actions within the game. So you can have this AI that knows, you can feed it all the different information from the game of what's happening, And then based on that, it can make a decision about what to do within the game or what to say within the game. So let's say Skyrim, for example, if it was using the gaming AI NPC engine, you could go into like a shop in Skyrim and you could speak to the shopkeeper to haggle with them. It wouldn't be on certain conditions, it wouldn't be like on a script. It would be an AI actually haggling with you, conversing with you. You can
Nice.
add different stats, etc., that could influence its chances of going along with it, but you can just get a whole new level of interactivity. And then if they decide to sell it to you, they could output a JSON that says like sell for this much, and then you could confirm that. So without being an AI dev or anything like that, you can just use this API with all these different options that you're going to need to integrate AI NPCs into your game, and then you can just choose all the different parameters, etc. And then you can just bring it straight in, and it will handle all the backend API calls, etc. It will connect you to all the AIs, and just make the whole process extremely streamlined. So you just make one API call, you add all the details, it will respond with what the character's doing, what the character's saying, etc. And yeah, that should be. It's extremely interesting to see what ends up getting built with this kind of thing, because right now we're going to see a big wave in gaming where AI NPCs become this massive, massive hype. Barely anyone is speaking about it yet, but it won't be long until games become almost like a simulation of reality, where you've got these actual intelligences within the game that are making decisions or interacting with each other, and it'll make these games feel like alive. It'll make the characters feel alive. You'll form emotional attachments to characters within these games because they've actually got a mind of their own. They're responding, etc. And yeah,
It's
I'm very
crazy.
excited to be a provider for technology for that kind of use case once the
Yeah,
gaming API is ready. Yeah,
it's
and
very cool.
yeah,
I,
so the
I I got one
account.
thing I want to add real quickly. I hate to
Okay.
interrupt, but it's more or less like what if GTA 6 integrated AI into all their different characters or the NPCs that walk around the town and stuff like that. And then all of these characters have their own sort of personality that is unique to themselves rather than sort of having all these base, um, I guess, these base sort of phrases that they speak out depending on what happens to them. It's more natural, it's more realistic, it's more or less an alternate universe. But outside of that, are you saying that I could go into this platform, tell them to create an Utu Renegade as a 3D model, and then it's going to create whatever it best represents as an Utu in 3D form?
Yeah, so the 3D side, I'm still waiting on the AI models to catch up a little bit before I can generate
Gotcha.
consistent models for them. But that will definitely be an aspect of it. I'm just waiting on the technology to catch up.
Sure.
But mostly right now, what I can handle is actually the tech side. So the actions, the decisions, the speech, etc. So it'd be very good within like preset sprites right now. We're working on something that will showcase this, which we can't speak about yet, but that should be very cool once we actually start able to show something off that uses it, and then people can try a very basic game that shows off this kind of technology. And yeah, you mentioned GTA 6. I think there's a very high chance that GTA 6 will have something along those lines. If not, definitely GTA 7 in like 20 years or whenever that's ready.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then so yeah, we're going to see a whole wave of games integrating AI with or without us. And now the position we're trying to put ourselves into is to be a provider of a service that makes it incredibly easy to do so. So you can either build all this infrastructure yourself to add these AI NPCs, or you can connect to a pre-made API that handles everything that they need to be able to do within the game, and you can just integrate that with a few lines of code, basically. So rather than having to build out your entire code base to handle this, you can just integrate an API, and your costs will still be extremely close to what they would be without using our service. So you'll just pay a small percent markup on whatever operational costs are for the AI, and that will be our profit from this. So it will be a small enough amount where there'll be very little incentive to actually build it themselves, because getting devs to do that, etc., could end up costing even more than just using our service, and it will slow down their development. So yeah, you can use this, speed up your development, and add the very next hype wave in gaming into your project. Yeah, if any projects want to try this early, let us know. It's not ready to try early yet, but we can add you onto a waitlist for this. If anyone wants to build using this, that'll be very exciting. And yeah, I think we could move on to the account ID tokenization now.
Let's do it.
I was going to
Yeah,
add a
so
couple of things, but yeah, just go
yeah,
ahead with
go
the
on.
account ID code. No, we have. I don't want to take up
I've
too
got a
much of
question
his
for you,
time.
Jake, right after.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay,
I'll listen to Lee all day.
so do you want to say that, Jake, or do you want me to move on?
Yeah, you can talk about account ID tokenization. I was just going to say, obviously with the STY NFT engine and things like that, obviously we're rebranding it. We haven't really seen that, NFTs as well, like in gaming, especially on like, you go on your console now and things like that. You don't see that NFT experience or things like that. I think that's what we'll see, like a wave of that maybe in the future. Obviously, we've got things like, companies like Ubisoft and that in the governing council. I don't know what they're up to right now, but there's cool things that, we're building. And this is just one of the special ones. I think we'll see a huge use case with on Hedera. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. There's not much more to add.
Nice. Very cool. Lee, are you going to dabble into it at all? Give us the
The
extra
account
deets?
ID. Okay, so the account ID tokenization. So this is another thing that's very novel and just a completely fresh idea. Well, it's not a completely fresh idea as a concept. So over several years, I've been on Hedera, mostly in the Telegram chats like the HBAR Lounge, HBAR Prices old chat, if anyone knows about that. So I've constantly seen these very low-key requests for the ability to trade account IDs. So Hedera differs from other networks in a very specific way in terms of how account addresses are. So on other networks, you'll have basically what looks like a private key as a public address. It's not really very collectible, like an OX address, etc. But with Hedera, you have these account IDs that count up numerically. So you start with like 0.0.1, 0.0.2, and then like you have these addresses counting up every time someone makes one. So it makes reasonable sense that these earlier addresses or ones with say cool patterns of numbers, etc., have some value. Like I would personally love to have say a 4-digit account ID. It's very easy to manually type, you can tell people about it, etc. It's a lot like domains. So you've seen people send like a .hbar domain, etc. You can make that your actual account with Hedera because they have these cool account IDs. And the way it works is as a Discord bot. It's currently on testnet. It's fully functional on testnet. There's a lot of security upgrades to do before I bring it onto mainnet. I'm very paranoid because I have to custody user keys. These aren't keys that hold any actual value because you'll have to clear out your account because you're purely just selling the account. So you're not going to tokenize account that say holds NFTs, tokens, or HBARs. So it'll just be empty accounts. But still, I want to make it very secure so people's accounts can't be lost by tokenizing them. So when you tokenize an account with the bot, you basically issue a command into it that will have your account ID, the private key, and an account which will receive the NFT which represents it. So you issue that command, and then it's a one-step process. You just issue the command, and then you receive the NFT into the account that you specified in that. And now this NFT that you receive is just like, say, a .hbar domain NFT, except it isn't standalone. It represents ownership of the account underlying it. So then you can take this NFT and you can trade it on normal NFT marketplaces like Centex, etc., just on normal infrastructure. And then whoever owns the NFT can send it back into the treasury account with a memo containing their Discord ID. And now what this does is that links up their Discord account to that NFT on chain. So then I can also have independent servers verifying that it's actually returned back into the treasury account, which can decrypt the keys for the main server, which will make it much more secure in terms of accounts that are currently tokenized, and it will really reduce the service area attack. Like let's say one server got compromised, they could only really get things that like live tokenizations happening at the time. They wouldn't be able to access like the vault of stored accounts that are currently outgoing. So that'll make it all much more secure. And it will allow the trading of Hedera accounts. You'll be able to buy a 4-digit ID. I think a lot of Hedera OGs are going to be very into this as well, because they'll see this and think, well, I've got multiple of these very early Hedera accounts. I'm going to push the service and push being able to sell them because I have these valuable ones. So I think we're going to get a lot of very early community members showing a lot of support for this utility out of their own financial interests, which should be very cool to see. I have no clue how popular this is going to be. I have no clue what the trading volume will be, how much they're going to be worth. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see once this is live on mainnet, and it's an extremely easy process. We only handle tokenization and redemptions. Everything else you can just use as a normal NFT.
Incredible. That's definitely unique, and you might be able to secure yourself a 4-digit wallet ID as long as people are willing to give them up. My personal wallet ID of many, but my main wallet ID that I like to consider the main, uh, it's not a 4-digit wallet ID, but it is very easy for me to remember. It's 0.011333134, and it's just the numbers make it so easy to remember, of course. But it's cool to see a feature like this where now, say if I was wanting a wallet ID in the under 10,000 range, 9,999 or lower, and somebody's listing one, there's plenty of H barbarians out there who I assume were stacking up wallet IDs back then just because of potentially a feature like this to release down the road. It'd be cool to acquire one or two and, maybe get a super low one. Maybe we get something even in the 3-digit range or even, who knows, 2-digit range. The possibilities are endless, but it's just cool to see this as a service offered out to the rest of the HBAR community out there. So well done on that. And congratulations on the seamless opportunity that lies with it being in testnet right now and not really having too much of a hassle in this testnet phase. But now that we've talked about a lot of the services you guys have to offer, Jake, I'd like to ask you, how will the high token play a role within these tools, especially within the grander ecosystem?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, it's a deflationary mechanism. The token itself. I'm sure Leo want to chip in a bit more on this as well. So you've got all the utilities within the ecosystem, that we've just talked about. You've got the Babel subscription. You've got pay as you go on the HyBot. So you purchase high tokens. You want to go and play with the HyBot as well. Something I didn't talk about was I'll get into this a bit later on. Is on ramps on the web application as well, so people can easily purchase high credits. Using MasterCard and Visa and things like that as well. So that'll be interesting to talk about a bit later on. But in terms of the token, so 20% of profits from all of these utilities will go towards burning the high token. Then you've got 5% of them of that as well going to the LP rewards, and then 5% going to NFT staking. So that's 30% in total of all the profits going to them different avenues. It's a payment token in terms for these services. It's a preferred payment token for HyBot, Babel, all these different things. So we want to focus it as a payment token in that sense, if that makes sense. Lee, I'm not sure if you want to add a little bit more in terms of the tokenomics side of things. It's a deflationary token. The more use we get, it benefits the community. We're like a brand. We want to have this ecosystem, that's shared with the whole community pushing this brand. If that makes sense. It's a payment token. So 20% goes to burning, 5% to LP rewards, and 5% to NFT staking, which we haven't launched the NFT staking yet. I hope that answers the question.
Lee, anything you want to add?
Yeah, sure. So I'll go a bit more specific into how each utility actually benefits the high token. So I'll start with HyBot. So HyBot has a credit system. So then every single time you use something within HyBot, you pay the operational costs and you pay a small markup, which is our fee, which is our profit. So that little markup on HyBot, every usage, 20% of that will go to Burning High and the other 5% that Jake mentioned. With Babel, that's a subscription service. So whatever our average operation costs are, taken away from whatever the revenue is from selling these subscriptions, that difference will be the profit, which the 20% and the 25% come from. And then we take the account ID tokenization, which works a little bit differently. So these account ID NFTs are all going to have a 5% royalty attach. That 5% royalty on trading volume of the account IDs is our profit from that. So we take 20% of that, which is 1% of all volume from these account ID NFTs, will be used for burning high. So let's say someone spends 100,000 HBARs on an account ID. that would be 1,000 HBARs going into burning high, for example, because that's 20% of the 5%, which would be 1%, which is 1,000. And so then we go into something like the STY NFT engine / gaming API. That'll work very similar to HyBot with a credit system. So that's basically exactly the same. You pay a small markup every time you use it. That's a profit, and then that goes to burning high. And
Nice.
yeah, that's pretty much how all the actual value capture works in terms of the burn. And then anywhere applicable, high will be a discounted payment. So something like the account ID tokenization, high won't be possible to use as a payment token unless high is supported as an option on Centex, for example. But the value capture mostly comes from the burns and profits. That's what will decrease the supply over time, and yeah, provides value from what we're doing to the token. I'll also say tokenomically, we started at about 40% released, and we have a 3-year release window. So if you compare that to say HBAR, I remember when I bought HBAR, I think it was at like 5%, 8% released. So they've released like 10 times the supply since I've joined, and starting at around 40%, that's barely over double over 3 years, and then that's the max supply. We've already also burned 9 million tokens from the initial supply of 66 million, and that was due to tokens not being claimed because people didn't associate, etc. So yeah, and them tokens came back to us, and we decided to just burn them more because we're not going to dump more, of course. And yeah, most of our supply has been allocated to our NFT holders. So around 60% initial, around 60% of the max is going to our NFT holders because they're our original holders, our supporters. So we made them also our holders of our token, and they've been amazing supporters. Like we've seen them provide a lot of liquidity right now isn't from our official pool. I think that's only about a third of the current liquidity, and then the rest has been added by our community. So
Nice.
that's been really great to see. We've got quite a decent bit of liquidity now, and yeah, there's not too many releases over the 3 years. Most of them going to our NFTs. So if you hold any of our NFTs, make sure you have high associated so that you can receive these. The staking will all be completely automatic. You just associate high, our systems will pick it up and send you the tokens that you're owed. And yeah, that's mostly. Also, there's 160 mil max supply. I forgot to say
Thank
that.
you for
Yeah.
mentioning that also. So when you're talking about NFT holders, it's only the hash pimp NFTs right now, correct? Or is there other NFTs out there?
No, it's just that Hashpimps NFTs are out at the moment.
Oh,
So we've got
and the VIP
700.
passes.
Yeah, and the VIP passes as well. So we've
Sure.
got 700 in circulation, at the moment with, max
Yeah.
supply of 1,100. So we will be releasing more. We've capped that at 1,100. It's not something we're thinking about right now. Obviously, we've got to build out the tools and get a few of these live before we consider launching any more NFTs and how we're going to go about that as well.
Yeah.
It's all documented in the
Makes
white paper
sense.
how we want to go about it. Yeah, I wanted to add as well, just in terms of the token, like on the website, we will have a dashboard, like a transparent dashboard showing burns, what utilities doing what, like how much revenue that utilities, bringing in, what's gone towards the token burn, what's gone towards, the LP rewards and the staking rewards and things like that. So that'll be, fully transparent and easy for the community to understand. So yeah, having, that on the website with, a dashboard that anyone can see, having a bot maybe in Discord or, yeah, we want to be fully transparent about, where funds are going, how well each utility is doing as well. And I think, we'll see that once we get a few things live, and we see people utilizing these tools. So yeah, I'm excited to see that flesh
Very
out.
cool. You know why people don't like the United States dollar? Because it's inflationary. The high token is deflationary. And that's why it's got a ton of potential. This is not financial advice, but what I like that you guys are doing is taking a portion of the revenue, bringing it back to the token, utilizing that for burns, as well as the idea behind utilizing services to funnel more liquidity back into the token and more or less enhance the entire ecosystem at will and at large, and most importantly, at scale. And I like those things the most because without an influx of activity, an influx or more or less a reason for people to engage with your token, there's, in all honesty, no real reason for you to have a token unless it's some meme thing that you're trying to get the show on the road and whatnot. Who knows? You name it, you get it. But pretty much, you have to have that reason behind the token. Whatever token you're creating, anybody out there listening, there's always has to be a reason behind it. Whether the reason may be viable or not, you have to have one. And your guys's, in my opinion, are very viable. And these tools and services you're planning on offering and are already offering to your community and down the road very broadly to communities afloat and afar, I see this high token being a token in the HCS ecosystem who has a very, very great chance at succeeding long term, especially with the way your tokenomics are handled and everything that goes into that. But I just wanted to highlight those things because, I hate the United States dollar because of how inflationary it is. Obviously, we have a strong military, but anyways, you get what I'm getting at. It doesn't help when a token's inflationary and you're trying to still make value out of it. It's very hard to. I know, Jake, you wanted to talk about the on and off ramps. I'm assuming you're going to be working with a company on Hedera. I had the name C4. Are you guys going to be working with C4 for on and off
Yes.
ramps?
I think it's C14 or C14. I don't know
C14.
exactly how to
You're
pronounce
right.
it. But yeah, we
Yeah.
kind of we spoke to them a couple. I think just under a month ago. They reached out and was like, "Do you want to be listed?" And we were like, "Yeah, of course. That's
Yeah.
interesting. It gives that more reach out there for anyone to. I think there's over 50 plus countries that can access that. Everyone's experiencing DeFi and things like that, and it sort of gave us that easy way for people to see us. And so I thought, yeah, why not? So yeah, we shook hands on that. We listed on there, and then what was great was that they also had a widget available that we could build into the web application. And I spoke to Leo. I was like, wow, this is really cool because people can come on to the Hyzen website. They can use the ramp. You use the MasterCard, the Visa, whatever. So, purchase some tokens, and the tokens are AI credits. Go and play with the tools, go and access the playground, go and, do what you want. And whether you're a content creator, musician, whatever you want to use AI for, just go on there and have a play around. And I think that gave like an easy, accessible way to use that application. Obviously there's going to be different ways to use your high tokens and put them onto the web application. But I just saw that as a real good opportunity, and it's cool that we have like a ramp like that that supports a lot of the HTS tokens. There's other ones like MoonPay and things like that are out there at the moment, which are pretty cool. But yeah, I think Ramp's unique, and I think it really suits what we're doing. So yeah, I'm pretty proud about that collaboration, and hopefully we can do a little bit more with them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. I only have one more question for each of you, and I'll start with Jake. Jake, can you really simply put it, share me the vision for HyzenAI's future and where you see the project evolving within these next few years?
The vision is, we obviously with AI advancing, every day, even I wouldn't say every week, every month, it's advancing, on a rapid rate.
Every second.
Yeah. Technology now is advancing at such a fast rate compared to what it was a couple of years ago, which is the obvious outcome. But yeah, I see I want everyone to enjoy our services. Whatever sector you're in, I want people to have some use out of what we're building. I know not everyone's passionate about AI, but I want people from Web 2 to come onto Hyzen because they have all these use cases, all these providers, all these different utilities in one place, to come on and explore. I suppose the vision's like never ends in terms of like we want anyone to use any of our services. We like Babel. Like some people would want to use Babel or Babel, however you'd like to pronounce it, but I call it Babel. I want everyone to use Babel. They might not want to use Hybot, but they can use Babel for their their brand or their business or their their crypto shop, whatever they want to use it for. Or they want to edit some images using some of the AI services. And we want to create this like playground for it's all in one place just to go to, access any service you want at the point you need it, rather than, this, you see these monthly subscriptions for like just a couple of models and things like that. I think my vision with it is We want people just to come and play around with these tools when they need it and when they want it, which we've seen, especially within the demo. And that's part of the reason, the vision comes from the foundation we've created now. Like by that I mean is, we've got a couple of demos in the server right now. We're kind of showing the capability of what it can be, and then as AI advances, we advance and we bring all these different. I could go on for days about it, but eventually I just want to create this cool, especially with Tuesday creating the web application on the front end. We want to create this cool environment where people can, come on and they can have their own sort of workshop, like their own place and their own, front end, fully customizable, suit them and, explore and play with all these different AI tools and things like that. And where I see it going is, it can help businesses, it can help anyone in crypto, it can help NFT projects, it can help, musicians, it can help anyone. We just want to create a network and community of creators. And that's the vision I see. I want this one place to go to for anyone to create whatever they want and play around with whatever tool they want, which is what we're seeing now.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I look forward to seeing it all along the ride. My last question for you, Lee, is what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs and developers looking to enter the AI and blockchain space? If there's any, by all means now. And I appreciate both of your guys' times today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys all about HyzenAI. And simply, last put it, Lee, any advice out there you'd love to give to developers?
Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, thanks for having us on first. And in terms of advice, there's one piece of advice I give to every single person who ever asks me this question. I only have one piece of advice, and this is it. So when you create your project, make sure that you have every single skill needed within the founding team. You want a founding team that has every skill. You want a developer, a front-end developer, you want a marketeer. You want to try and be as least reliant on continued investment as possible. You want to avoid having people on continued wages. Like if you're starting out on Hedera as a project, if you're paying developers without equity, if you're paying them cash, you're going to have to do continual raises, which is very, very hard on the community. They can barely even afford it right now. So if you have all these different skill sets in the founding team, people who are working to increase the value of their own equity of the company that they own a part of, rather than being a constant drain on the actual funding you have, you basically gain unlimited development runway. And that's a position where I can keep on building forever without any money because I do the building. I don't need to pay someone else to build for me. So then I own part of Hyzen. I do the development. I don't need to be paid for that. I can just keep on building, and then any profits that these utilities make come back to me in part, and that's the reason I can keep on building. So instead of hiring people, try and get them to be in the founding team with you, but make sure to have a contractual agreement where there's a certain amount of work put in, etc. If you don't fully trust them. If you don't fully trust them, you probably shouldn't hire them as developers to begin with, but you get where I'm going with it, yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. That's great words of advice. And you put it in the best way possible. It's been a pleasure speaking with you both today, Jake and Lee. And I see kind of those words of advice you just mentioned, Lee, and you guys already here today, as well as Watusi, even though he's not here. Is there any closing thoughts that you guys would like to mention before we wrap this one out? This is probably one of the longest shows I've done in quite a couple months, I gotta say, but it was worth every minute of it. Thank you both for taking the time, but feel free to drop any closing thoughts now.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks for having us on. There's probably a lot more we could cover that we haven't spoke about.
Everything marketing.
You can see it's getting dark here. I'm getting a bit tired. But yeah, it's slowly just got more dark, hasn't it? As we've got on.
It did.
So it's but yeah, I appreciate you having me on. There's a lot we could talk about. Different partnerships we've made and different meetings we've been on and things like that. But I never like to say things that I haven't 100% confirmed. But yeah, I've been speaking to a lot of different brands, like big people and big companies and things like that who are looking to leverage some of these tools. That's nothing 100% confirmed on that side yet. But I'm just going to be excited when we can start releasing these. When we have the HCS credit system live for HBAR, when we have Babel live for anyone to use in the server, they can just add it as a bot. We could even have like a subdomain on the website where people can just add Babel to the server and sign up and use a demo and then go on to the subscription. It kind of never ends. But yeah, we'll probably have new ideas in the next couple of weeks. So I'd love to come back on the show. I appreciate you having us on. I know it's getting on now, so I'll stop talking. But yeah, hopefully we can connect a bit more as well. Be happy to do that. But yeah, I appreciate you having us on, Tate, and thanks for your hosting skills as well. They were great.
Of course. Thank you as well, Jake. Anything else from you, Lee?
Yeah, sure. So thank you for having us on. We do appreciate it a lot. And just to expand on something Jake said about the vision, I wouldn't consider Hyzen to be just one vision. Each utility has its own unique vision to it. And then Hyzen is kind of like all of it put together. So it's multiple visions inside of one. So where a lot of people would create a new token, create a new project for each utility, we keep on adding things into Hyzen. We don't raise extra funds, etc. We just keep on adding new things. And yeah, it'll just keep on expanding continuously for the foreseeable future. I'm very committed to this. I'll be working at Hyzen for at least 10 years plus, definitely. So we're going to see a lot of different utilities get created that aren't even thought of yet. And the vision will just keep on growing and growing with new unique visions within the main vision. And yeah, it's been great to be on.
Of course. I can't wait to host you guys down the road and see where all the progress has come. It's been a pleasure speaking with you both. And Jake, Lee, thank you both for your time once again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Everything HyzenAI, and all their links will be linked down below. And with that being said, we will see you all in the next episode. Peace.
Ready to transform your learning experience? Step into the future with the Learn to Earn platform on Hedera. Choose how you learn. Academic books in hard copy or NFT form. That's right, NFTs. Whether you prefer the traditional feel or a digital interactive journey, the choice is yours. Dive into the NFT, not just for the book, but for all the tools you need for success. Download the book, access tests, all within a seamless, immersive interface. Forget traditional logins. Simply scan the QR code, connect to our platform, and start your Learn to Earn journey. Pass your tests and watch your success turn into real rewards with Gcoin, our exclusive digital currency. Imagine learning at your own pace, acing exams, and reaping tangible benefits. It's not just education, it's a transformative journey towards success. Join the future of learning at gilmore-estates.net. Scan, learn, earn. It's that simple, and it's revolutionary.